Good morning. Next week, I'm going to Botswana to spend a month on the Chobe River doing safaris, and I need to pack. So I thought, what better than get two birds in one stone and do a long-awaited full rundown of what's in my camera bag. I've been wanting to do this video for a long time because I get asked about gear all the time, both on my social media, but also from the guests that I host on safaris, being a photographic guide. So I thought, let's put it all in one video so that I have one place to send people and you can get to know everything that I keep in my camera bag. And hopefully this helps you pack for your safari. So let's start at arguably the most important piece of this puzzle, my camera bag. The bag that I use for pretty much all my travels is the Shimoda Action X40 Women's Edition, which Shimoda sent to me about a year ago, and I haven't used another bag since. So I'm sure you're wondering, with it being the women's collection, what makes it different from the other Shimoda bags? And apart from the beautiful teal color that is only available for the women's edition, this bag is designed specifically for women's bodies, which not a lot of other camera bag brands do. So we really appreciate Shimoda for that. And I personally have been enjoying this bag a lot because it is fit for my body to be able to carry for long distances. It is designed for the more curved back that women have compared to men, but then you can also customize it to fit perfectly for you. So for example, we have at the top here, you can set it to small, medium, and large, change the straps that way, and then we can also obviously change the waistband as well to fit perfectly for you. And I've found it really, really comfortable to carry for longer distances. As I mentioned, Shimoda did send me this bag about a year ago. However, they haven't paid me for this video, so this is my honest opinion. However, I do have a discount code for you guys. If you are looking for a new camera bag, I can wholeheartedly recommend Shimoda. If you use the code Marie10 at checkout, you get 10% off, and I also get a small commission off the purchase, which I really, really appreciate. So yeah, keep that in mind when you're looking for a new camera bag. So let's get into packing. I'm thinking while I'm packing for Botswana, I'll also show you all the different storage compartments in this camera bag and how I utilize them. First of all, we have the back opening up like this, and this is where you'll keep all your camera gear. This is an insert that comes out from the bag, so you can take it out if you want to. In here, we've got a DSLR large camera insert, because when I got this bag, I used to still shoot with DSLR, but now I'm actually quite happy that I have this big insert because it works very, very nicely for my mirrorless cameras as well. You can get these in all different types of sizes, depending on what gear you have, and obviously for my big telephoto lenses shooting mostly wildlife, this was very necessary to get a large camera insert. The camera insert is completely customizable to your preference, and they come with all different shapes and sizes of these little pads, and you just set it up to whatever you prefer, and it works for your gear. So moving over to a bit of gear, let's start with my camera bodies. I have two camera bodies, and my primary body is the Sony a7R5, and ever since I tried this camera out for the first time, I have absolutely loved it. When I first tried it out, it honestly felt like it was made for my hands and my style of shooting. It's so nice and small and compact. I've got quite small hands, so that's perfect for me. I feel like the buttons are perfectly placed to where I prefer them to be. And I also love the fully articulated mirror that can come out in all sorts of directions, which is super, super helpful when you're shooting on low angles and can't look through the viewfinder. I also love the fact that it has such a huge sensor of 61 megapixels. Since my photography, I focus a lot on capturing a lot of details in my photos. It's a very nice hybrid camera for video as well. I don't do video professionally, but I do a bit of it for social media, and I just find it really nice and easy to switch between photo and video with this camera and get good quality in both. The only thing that I would change about this camera is the frames per second. I think it goes up to like 10, depending on if you're shooting on uncompressed RAW. I'll have to look it up and put the details here. That is not very fast, and I prefer shooting at uncompressed RAW most of the time because I really like the quality and the dynamic range that that gives. So that is the only thing that I would change about this camera. My second camera body is the a7 IV, and the only reason I just went with the a7 IV was because I couldn't afford buying two R5s. However, the 7.4 is also such a brilliant camera, both for wildlife photography and also for what I mostly use it for, which is behind the scenes and like content creation and that type of stuff. And then it has been absolutely brilliant as well. It has a bit of a smaller sensor than the R5, but still really nice quality photos, a lot of detail, great dynamic range, and in general, just a really good all-around camera for wildlife photography as well. With the a7 IV, I usually pair it with the 24-70 G Master Lens f2.8 from Sony as well, which I use for all of those behind the scenes stuff and more content creation type of things. This is such a great all-rounder lens. If you're looking for a lens that covers pretty much all your needs, this is the one to get. The 24-70 is such a great focal length that covers everything from a bit of astrophotography and landscapes to more products and portraits. And what I use it for mostly is the behind the scenes and guest experience on my safaris. And I love this lens. It's brilliant with the 2.8, just gives such great quality photos. And yeah, as I said, just in general, a great all-rounder lens. So in general, I'll have the 24-70 on my a7 IV and have that as a second body that is just easy to grab and capture those behind the scenes shots that I was talking about while out on safari. And then what I use for wildlife photography is the 200-600 f5.6 to 6.3, and this lens is absolutely brilliant for wildlife photography. So this is what I'll pair with my R5, and this combination has been absolute magic. I've been loving shooting wildlife with this. Before I switched to Sony, I used to shoot with a prime lens that was a 300 2.8, which is a fantastic focal length for wildlife, and the 2.8 is brilliant. But when I switched to Sony, I had to kind of give that up and rethink my priorities because I was looking for something that was easy, nice to travel with, and also just in my price range. And the 200-600 have been absolutely brilliant for those reasons. I was worried about shooting on a higher f-stop after shooting on 2.8 for so long, but it honestly hasn't bothered me too much. I still get super nice compression with the 600 and can still get those nice blurry backgrounds as long as I just position myself correctly. It has been so great to shoot with a zoom lens that can go from 200 to 600, being able to get a little bit more creative with the different types of shots that I'm getting, playing around with different types of compositions and so on. And with it being an internal zoom lens, you don't get this extension when you're zooming in and out, and it's such a nice quick movement to zoom from 200 to 600. It just makes it for the perfect travel wildlife photography lens. The autofocus is crazy fast together with the a7R5, and especially with the amazing AI autofocus that the R5 has. This has been absolutely brilliant for wildlife photography, and I've been enjoying it so much. However, a few weeks ago, I did a project with Sony where I was shooting with their new 300 2.8, and that lens is definitely high up on my list now. It's a beautiful, beautiful lens, super nice and lightweight. However, it's just a little bit out of my budget at the moment, but that is definitely a lens I'm looking at adding to my gear as soon as I can. So now, as you can see, I've been able to fit my gear super nice and easy in here, and I still have a lot of space left. I could actually fit another lens in here, but what I use these extra compartments for instead is all those like smaller things that otherwise will just float around in your camera bag. Let me show you. For example, extra lens and camera caps. I've got a total of 3 batteries for my cameras. Obviously 2 of these will always be in the cameras, but then I'll have 1 extra here in the bag as well. So far, I have been very impressed with the battery life of the Sony mirrorless cameras. That 3 batteries between these 2 cameras have been perfect for me. However, this might not work for everyone. I do safaris where I can charge my batteries at least once a day. So just keep that in mind if you are looking at how many batteries to get for your cameras. Depending on how often you're able to charge, you might need more batteries. And then an essential on safari is binoculars. Trust me when I say this, you do want to bring binos on your safari, even if you have a camera with a big lens. I see so many people try to use their cameras and their big lenses as their binos, and it's just so inconvenient because most of the time you'll be putting your camera up, trying to find the little spot and realize that it's a rock. So much easier to just have binos, quickly check and then move on. I'm not a bino nerd though, so I won't be able to tell you what binos are the best and what I recommend, because I just have these cheap little ones. The only reason I got these is because they are small and I wanted something small to travel with, and they are good enough for me to be able to spot something and then use my camera to get better quality stuff. Next is my little microphones that I'm actually using at the moment. So you can see it here. It's the Rode Wireless Me, and got these just a couple of weeks ago and have been so impressed with them so far. This is obviously a bit specific to me, who does a lot of like social media and stuff while I'm out in the field, and these have just been so easy to set up and plug into my phone and go, because I have the transmitter on myself and then the receiver connected to my phone. Super nice and easy through Bluetooth, and they all fit in this little bag with all the cables and stuff, so that's what I keep in here as well. Another little content creation thing that I have is this little mount that goes onto the hot shoe of my camera, and then I'm able to put my phone on here and get behind the scenes videos while I'm shooting, which is brilliant because we all need content for social media, and this has been perfect for that. Then we have my little quick on-the-go cleaning equipment. This is a little microfiber cloth that I got at the grocery store, no specific brand, to be able to clean your gear off any dust and smudges and so on. Just good to have. And then I have a lens pen, which I highly recommend getting. These are like $10 or something, and you can get them at most camera stores or even on Amazon or Takealot if you're in South Africa. It just has this little brush on the one side that you can brush off any dust and stuff from your equipment, and then it has this little pen thing on the other side that helps you get any smudges off your lens. So this is brilliant to have with you as like an on-the-go cleaning equipment when you're out in the field. And then moving over to like memory cards and storage, I have this little memory card holder that is waterproof and dustproof and all of that. And this is where I keep all my memory cards if they're not in my cameras. I've got quite a few SD cards that I've just accumulated throughout the years that I keep as like backups. But then when it comes to the cards that I'm currently using for my cameras, I have these two CF Express Type A cards. One is from Sony that came with the camera. It's a 160 gigabyte card. And then I have a 160 gigabyte from Lexar. I think that the Lexar one is slightly quicker, but I haven't noticed much of a difference so far. And then in the backup body, the A7 IV, I've got two SD cards. Both are 128 megabytes, and one is from SanDisk and one is from Lexar. I like to mix my memory cards, as you can see. I usually just get them on like special and whenever I need them or whatever price is better. So that's why I have a few different ones from different brands. So the last few things that I keep in this part of the bag that I kind of just throw on top of all of this is a scarf. And this is a scarf I just got randomly like 3 years ago at a store in one of the national parks. And it's so essential to my gear, and I recommend all my guests to bring this with on their safaris, because you will be driving in quite dusty conditions, and dust gets to your gear way quicker than you can ever imagine, and you don't want to be keeping it in your camera bag all the time, because you want your gear to be like ready to go, just grab quick, because you'll be driving and then all of a sudden you'll spot something and you want to take a photo. So you don't want to have to get it out of your camera bag all the time. So what I do is have this wrapped around my gear on my lap or on the seat next to me or whatever. And this easy little trick just helps keep dust off the gear a little bit longer while still having the gear quick and easy accessible for whenever you come across wildlife and you want to take photos. And then the last essential is a cap. And this is not just to keep the sun out of my face, but also to keep the hair out of my face, because when you're driving in an open vehicle, there's always going to be hair in your face, and a cap is the only way that I've been able to keep this out of my face. And now, as you can see, there is a very nice laptop sleeve here where I prefer keeping my laptop. There is space for it at the front as well. I just find this is a little bit more protected. You get a lot of questions about what laptop I use for editing photos and videos. And I have a MacBook Air from 2020 with the M1 chip, and I went for 16 gigabyte RAM because I wanted to be able to run a little bit of like heavier programs, right, editing videos and editing photos and so on. However, I used to use one with just 8 gigabytes RAM as well, and that worked really nicely for a very long time. So I highly recommend the MacBooks. In general, my own experience have been fantastic, and I feel like they last really, really long. And in general, I always just hear quite negative things from people about pretty much any other laptop brand, for specifically for video and photo editing. Some people might hate me or hate me for saying this, but that's just my experience. And yeah, in general, I recommend a MacBook a lot. For a little bit of extra protection, I keep it in this little laptop sleeve from Douchebags that I've had for a couple of years now and really, really like. So I just slide that in there. And that closes nice and easy. Well, on the topic about laptops, let's also chat about storage and backup, because this is a question I get a lot. I have this little pouch that I bought in Namibia on one of my latest trips, and it's honestly just to keep all of my hard drives and cords and stuff in one place, so nothing fancy. But for storage and backup, I use a couple of different hard drives. First of all, I've got two SanDisk Extreme Portable SSDs that I have been using for a couple of years, and I really like them because they're so nice and small and compact, and they've been nice and fast and worked really well. However, there's one glitch with them that I've heard other people have had issues with as well, and that is that they sometimes just eject themselves from the computer. So sometimes while you're editing, all of a sudden Lightroom says they can't find your files and the SSD have ejected themselves. So because of that issue, I was looking for new hard drives to start investing in, and I heard a lot of great things about the Samsung T7 Shield. So that is what I got now latest, and been loving it so far. It hasn't given me any issues, and it's also very nice, small and compact, and very durable, so highly recommend that as well. Then in here I also have all the cords for these guys, the CF Express adapter, and also an adapter for my SD cards. You know, with MacBook we need adapters for everything. So the way I'm backing up my files and working with these different SSDs at the moment, just a note here that this is a work in progress, and in general is something that you just figure out as you go along what works best for you and so on. But as an example, this is what I'm currently doing. What I'm doing is I have the 1 terabyte SanDisk SSD as the hard drive for like the specific trip that I'm on. So whatever I'm shooting on that trip, I will back up on this hard drive right away. Every night I usually back up my SD cards and CF Express cards so that they're empty for the next day, because you just never know what you might encounter the next day and how much storage you might be wanting. So I always do that every single day, backing up on this. And then I have the Samsung one as the one that I edit all my photos off, and like my working SSD. So once I'm back from a trip, I'll put everything from this one onto this and start like going through my photos and edit and all of that kind of stuff. And then I will back up everything that is on this one. This is 2 terabytes onto the other 2 terabyte SanDisk SSD that I've got. And this one I always keep separate from the others so that I know that I have backups of everything that is important to me, and that they are separate from each other, because you never know if your bag might get stolen. And even though all of my gear is insured, if I lose all my photos and videos, that I can never get that back. So I always just keep a backup of this separate to these guys. Hope that makes sense. It might sound a little bit complicated, but that's the way I'm backing up all my stuff at the moment. Some people also use cloud storage, and I just haven't really gotten around to using cloud storage. For some reason, I don't really trust it. It feels weird to me that it's in the cloud, so I prefer having backups on different hard drives, but that's just me. So the number one thing that I was struggling with all previous camera bags that I've had before this is the fact that I could only fit my camera gear and like nothing else into it. They were often quite small and compact, which was great, but then I didn't have space for like an extra jersey while I was traveling, or like these kind of things in the camera bag itself, and I could only fit my camera gear. Well, that problem was solved with this bag, because I've got this pouch on top here, the roll-on pouch, and this helps me fit so much more than just my camera gear. I can roll this up and access anything I need from the top, and I can also quickly access it from here. So in here, I'll usually keep these. Then I also have a different pouch for the charger for my camera batteries, and an adapter because I live in South Africa, and a few other like charging cables and stuff that I might need. I think I got this pouch on a flight once with Turkish Airlines, and it's been so useful. So yeah, with all my pouches and stuff, they just random things that I pick up that are good sizes for these things. Nothing fancy. So I pop that in there. I also always have a book with me. Currently reading this one. For those who know, they know. So that fits nice in there as well for like flights and stuff, which is great. And then I always have a jacket with me because Africa gets a lot colder than you might think. This one I bought secondhand a couple of years ago. It's from Boomerang originally, but yeah, I found it secondhand and it's been so great. And that all fits on top here. I could probably squeeze in even more things in here if I want to. And then we have this front pouch that could easily fit another laptop or a tablet if you have one, maybe a Kindle, another book, whatever you need. Here I'll keep a little blow up neck rest for flights. And let's keep some random stuff like extra power banks. These are from Red E. And I've got a very small one that I think lasts for like one charge, and then a bigger one that charges usually twice or even 3 times, that I just keep in here because you never know when you run out of battery. And then again, a little eye patch for flights. And that is what I keep in here. I could honestly fit a lot more in here. And then I also have these side pouches. You can bring them out like this and then just strap them to the side to either fit your tripod or a water bottle. This one is from Ocean Bottle, and I've used it for a couple of years now. Absolutely love it. On the other side, you can do the same thing. You can also access into the insert, which I honestly never really do because I shoot from a vehicle all the time, so I just have the back open if I keep my stuff in my camera bag. But you can bring out a side pouch on the side as well. A question I get a lot is what tripod I use. I have my phone mounted on it, so I can't show you. But honestly, I had bought this tripod on Takealot, which is South Africa's version of Amazon, for like maybe $30 about 4 years ago or so. And it's just a cheap little plastic thing from Nat Geo, and it has worked perfectly for me so far. I don't use a tripod a lot because I shoot from a vehicle so much, and I usually use a beanbag on the side of the vehicle to stabilize my gear on instead. That just works so much easier when you're in a car. However, I use it for like these type of things, just mounting my phone or my camera if I'm filming from my camera, for like social media and those type of things. And sometimes I'll use it for like when I'm doing star photography. And it's just been nice and easy. I am looking at buying a new tripod and investing in something a little bit better. I currently have my eye on the Peak Design tripod, and I think that is what I'm gonna buy next. However, it's completely sold out in South Africa, so I'm just waiting for stock. But that is probably the tripod that I'm investing in next because it's just small and compact and easy to travel with. And that is everything that I bring with me on safari and pack in my camera bag. I hope you found this helpful, and yeah, please let me know if you have any more questions in the comments. I would love to hear what bags you guys use and what's essential for your camera bag, and also let me know what else you want to see in the next videos. Thanks for watching.